Hi guys, good evening, and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host, Eddie, and in tonight's video, I will be discussing what I thought of the latest and very good episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi, which dropped its newest episode today on Disney+. I had a chance to watch it, finish it just now. Good stuff, very good stuff. Now, before I get into all of that, of course, please be warned, this is obviously a spoiler-filled review. So if you're not caught up on Obi-Wan Kenobi by the most recent episode, the third one, you do not want to keep watching or listening, as I am about to drop some spoilers, and I mean spoilers. So you have been warned. That being said, let's dive right back into it. First and foremost, I gotta say right off the bat, one of the things I really liked about this episode is that we had some polite stormtroopers for a change. In almost every installment of Star Wars that I've seen, whether it's live action or cartoon or animated, granted, I don't know or play that many video games, so maybe it's different in video games, but I've never seen, whether it's been in TV or in film form, a polite stormtrooper. And what I mean by that is when the transporter stops with that naked mole rat thing driving it, and he picks up the four troopers, he speaks to them as if he recognizes or knows them, and he's like, yeah, hop in, you know. And I don't know if he's like an Imperial loyalist or he's just playing along so they don't kill him. But one of the stormtroopers actually says, thanks, Freck, you know, and then they tap on the transporter like, right here, this is us. And then he says, thanks, Freck, again, as they depart the carrier. And it just makes me, I'm like, wow, so I guess they can still have some civility despite being foot soldiers to the Empire. Because every single time a stormtrooper has one line of dialogue with a non-Imperial character, it's usually rude, threatening, or condescending in some way. But in this case, he genuinely thanks the naked mole rat guy, Freck, for the ride, both when they first get on and when they first get off. And I'm like, wow, how about that? That is something. I don't know. I might be overthinking it, but it was just really interesting and frankly enjoyable to me because I'm like, civility even from a stormtrooper like that. How interesting. And maybe it's because he just has gotten used to Freck and his name and just knowing that he's always out there with that transporter thing. I don't know. I did love how Leia picked up on that very sad realization that Obi-Wan knew her real mother. And it was so heartbreaking when she asked him if he was if he were her real father. And of course, we all know who her real father is. But, of course, him breaking the news to her, I was like, oof, ouch. And it also dawned on me, it wasn't until after she got them in the shelter, because at first I'm like, oh, is this a defective Imperial officer who's actually a rebel sympathizer, or is this someone else? And then I was like, oh, this is the fake Jedi's contact, the Kunali's character from the previous episode. This is his contact. So, of course, she now shows up. Very late, but of course, now she shows up. And then when she got out of uniform and I saw her face better, I'm like, oh, it's Ilaria Sand from Game of Thrones. It's her. That's right. I remember reading about this now a year or so ago. They confirmed her casting in the show. Obviously, they didn't say who she was going to be playing, but they confirmed her casting. I'm like, oh, right, Ilaria Sand from Game of Thrones is in this. That's right. And it was so great seeing her again. And she played a great character, too. She was pretty ballsy going back for Obi-Wan despite seeing him being facing down with Vader. And I wasn't surprised at all that their first duel, because I doubt that's the only time they're going to share any screen time together, I was not surprised that their first duel went the way it did because Obi-Wan's clearly been out of practice for 10 years regarding his lightsaber skills and going up against a fellow lightsaber wielder. And, of course, 10 years out of the game. And, of course, who does he go up against but his old apprentice, Anakin, a.k.a. Darth Vader. And, of course, I love the fact that they clearly show Hayden Christensen in the healing tank. And he's the one suited up wearing the suit. And, of course, I love the fact that they still got the master himself, James Earl Jones, to do the voice. And despite knowing James Earl Jones doing the voice, I just love the fact that it's Hayden Christensen under there doing all the lightsaber wielding and moving. And oh my God, all the murder! He was callously murdering these poor innocent villagers just because he could before he found Obi-Wan. I mean, Jesus, that got dark. It was reminiscent of the excellent ending that is Rogue One, a Star Wars story. But my God, wow. So satisfying to see these two go at it again. Although I kind of didn't like how Obi-Wan was trying to duck and hide the whole time, but I also get it. And I also made me realize this won't be the first and final time these two go up against one another. I'm sure in the miniseries finale for the show, we'll probably see at least one more proper duel between the two of them. And I also got real excited when they did that name drop when Obi-Wan realized in the shelter, the little safe house they were in, that his old friend and fellow Jedi, Quinlan, had been there. And Quinlan survived the Jedi Purge. Quinlan is a character who was sadly only seen once in a fun episode of Star Wars The Clone Wars. And he was kind of a renegade Jedi. Like, he was still a Jedi, but he kind of played by his own rules, kind of a badass in that sense. Like, he still followed the rules, but with his own twist or something like that. And he was a survivor and a fighter, and it would totally make sense that he would survive Order 66. And now he's helping other fellow Force-sensitive beings escape persecution by the Empire. So that was pretty exciting to me as a Clone Wars fan. I'm like, oh, Quinlan, how awesome. Again, just a name drop, and I don't know if we'll see him or not, but pretty cool that they threw that out there, that he's still alive, so I liked that. Great episode overall, very entertaining, satisfying as hell to see both Hayden Christensen and James Earl Jones respectfully play the same role once again, that they both nail like that, so that was cool. And I also love how they surprised me, because I honestly was afraid we wouldn't see Hayden Christensen or Darth Vader until the end of this show, like in the final 2 episodes or perhaps the final episode. Like, he would sit out the first half of this show and then only appear in the second half. But boy, am I glad I was wrong. And hopefully he'll have a bigger presence moving forward in the remaining final 3 episodes. And as clearly as we saw from this episode, a lot can happen in 1 episode. So imagine what we could see in the next 3 episodes. So who knows what could happen, but I'm enjoying the hell out of it, as I hope you guys are as well. So what did you think of this episode of Obi-Wan? Like it, love it, hate it? Any thoughts or feelings on it? How did you enjoy it? I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on it. Thank you so much for watching. Obi-Wan Kenobi drops new episodes every Wednesday on Disney+. Have an awesome rest of your night, everybody. And of course, until next time, may the Force be with you.